Hello and welcome. My name's Sam and this is the Little Greenhouse Creates. Thank you for joining me today. And I'm going to start with an apology first of all before we go any further. If I sound a little bit strange or I start coughing during the video, I do apologise. I seem to have woken up with a bit of a chest infection and my throat is quite dry and sore. But we will soldier on, never fear. But I have got my drink to the top of my page here, should I need it. But we will boldly carry on, should I say. Best foot forward kind of thing. Anyway, let me introduce you to the stamp set of the week, and that is Gathering Moments. It is a beautiful stamp set. There are 13 images. This stamp set also comes with dies, and it has a set of beautiful papers that we will introduce you to on Wednesday. But as my normal is, I have printed out the images. So there are 8 images and 5 sentiments. So we've got 4 leaves, a toadstool, a acorn, and 2 backing patterns. And then the sentiments we've got is gather, thankful for you, your friendship means the world to me, many thanks, and expressing heartfelt gratitude. So it's quite an autumnal stamp set, but I'm sure you can use it at any time of the year. So let's bring back this card. So this is the card we're going to create. So we're going to need our supplies, and I have got those. So I have got, this is crushed curry. It measures 8 inches by 5 3/4. I have a piece of early espresso, which is 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. A piece of white cardstock, which measures 3 1/2 by 5 1/4. I have a 1 7/8 punch circle, which is this new punch that you can get at the moment. I've also punched out myself a piece of, or a larger circle. Now you can use any circle dies that you've got or a punch. This measures 2 3/8. So it's a punch I've already got. And I wanted some linen thread, but I didn't have any, so I just grabbed from my stock or my stash of what I've got. And this is linen thread, but it's green and white striped. Okay, so we're going to focus on our white piece first of all, and I'm going to do the card portrait. So taking my circle, the one I've stamped out, the largest, I'm just going to draw a faint line round the edge. Now, obviously, you could do this in portrait should you wish. I don't know why I don't seem to be able to go around the circle, but there we go. I have got a rubber to rub out this line. It's basically just there we can give ourselves a wreath kind of effect. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our dies. No, we're not. We're going to bring in our stamps. Okay, so my largest stamp is this leaf, and I'm going to stamp it in beige, basic beige, which is one of the colours that appears in the actual suite. In fact, all the colours I'm using today appear in the actual suite. So I'm going to stamp this off, and then I'm just going to add the leaf roughly round. And you will see that the leaves are not a block, they are textured, which is brilliant. It gives you a bit more interest. Okay, so the next colour I'm going to use, so this is it's almost like a cyclamen leaf, but I'm never 100% sure. So I'm going to do this in crushed curry. And we're just going to work our way around. So let's say we could... I'm going to add it here. That's one. Now don't worry too much if it goes over. It's all going to work out in the end, I promise. Okay, so that's our crushed curry. I've then got the next leaf, which we're going to do in old olive. Let's see where we can add those. So they could, on there, on there, and on there. And then the last thing I'm going to add is my toadstool, which I'm going to do in Cajun Craze. There we go. Right, let's get that back to where it was. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so they're going to go on there, on there. So as you can see, I've done them in 3s for all of them. All right, and I'm going to do a leaf. I'm just going to do another leaf to the side here, and I think I'm going to use this one, but I want it to be in a different color. I'm probably going to go for the Cajun Craze because that's the darkest. So I'm just going to make sure I've washed that. Oh, let's try that again, shall we? Let's make sure we wash that. I'm using wet wipes as my chamois are in the wash. They are going around the machine as we speak. Okay, so that's all stamped up. And then that's just going to go to the side here. Perfect. Right. So there is our card. So the first thing we need to do is to bring in our early espresso, and we're going to cut out a 2-inch circle. I'm going to use the card, so I'm going to make sure that the hole is in far away from the edge as possible. So I'm aiming for as much central middle of the stock. This is then going to sit onto here, and the white will then layer over the top like so, and then that will go underneath. So I'm going to type this time. I'm going to stamp this time the sentiment on here. So, if I show you the card, I use the image on here and the sentiment to the right, but I'm going to reverse that now, and I'm going to put this sentiment on my circle. And I'm using the sentiment Best Wishes again, and that's from the Simply Said stamp set. I've inked that up. I'm just going to check. Lovely. Okay. And then put that down as best. There we are. Hold it for a couple of seconds. And there we are. Best Wishes. Now, if you want to, oh, excuse me, I have got a rubber to rub out any lines. There's this tiny line there that I can just rub out. But I think everything else, maybe just a bit there, has been disguised because the pencil mark was just very light. Okay, so this can now be mounted. I'm just going to add that with a bit of Stamp and Seal. So as you can see, the border is very, very small, so I don't really want much more than that. I'm going to glue this down with my multi-purpose. Oh, come on. Thank you very much. It goes on to there, like so. Perfect. And I'm going to raise that with my dimensionals. So I'm just going to add 3 dimensionals. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. And then that will just sit in the middle. And now this can be, oh look, mistakes were made. I managed to glue that bit. I should have just put the glue around the edge. But you know, it's crafting. We do these things. As long as the end result comes out the way we want it, what more could we want? So let's just take that off so I don't get everything stuck. I'm going to bring in my scoreboard, and I'm going to score this at the 4-inch mark. There we go. Straight down. There we I'm going to use this. For some reason, all my bone folders seem to have gone for a walk today. Right, there we go. So this can now be layered onto our crushed curry. And I'm just going to use the multi-purpose again. And of course, we can get this bit inked up now. There we go. Right. So a very quick, easy, but effective card for Monday. And the last thing to do now is to add my piece of linen thread, which I have already turned into a bow, because watching me do a bow on camera really is very time wasting for you all. Nobody needs that. So we're going to use a glue dot, and I'm just going to roll it up and get it to be as small as possible. That's it. And then I'm just going to pop it down there, and hopefully, there we go. I'm going to add my bow. There we go. Onto there. Now obviously you could use glue should you wish to, but for the time being and quickness, I'm just using a glue dot. So there are our cards for a Monday. So what do you prefer? Do you prefer the sentiment to the right or the sentiment on the actual image? I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all. Anyway, do put your comments in the comment boxes below. Thanks ever so much for joining me today, and I will catch up with you on Wednesday. Take care, everybody. Bye.